You know, this guy, if I'm not mistaken, he didn't believe in God at all, did he? He was not a religious guy.
Not religious, no.
And then he found his faith. If I remember, he was speaking to some, prayer group last year or last summer, and he was saying, but I understood. I came to Jesus and found Jesus when I found my church in Chicago, which was Reverend Jeremiah Wright. And that taught me how to implement my faith. Okay, so he didn't believe in this stuff until he found the Marxist theology of Reverend Jeremiah Wright. I mean, this guy, if anyone would do their homework in the media, if anyone was interested in actually telling the truth in the media, doing their job in the media, this guy's not that hard to figure out. He's not that hard to figure out. He was raised as a Marxist. He had Marxist friends. Marxist mentors, sought out the Marxists in college. In college. I mean, what does it tell you that the guy went from, look, he's trying to fit in, but when he's 18 years old, as he's getting ready to go into Marxist, seek out the Marxist professors, he changes his name from Barry, which makes you fit in, to Barack. Now, what does that tell you? Just psychologically, what does that tell you? What does it take to change your name? Immigrants used to change their name to fit in. They used to want to be more like the culture. He did the exact opposite. His wife, when he was on the campaign trail, his wife said, well, they're just making fun of him because he has a funny name. No. He chose the funny name. He went on and said, they're just trying to scare you because I have a funny name. Again, you chose the name that you now think that people can use to scare other people with. Why would anyone do that? Why would anyone do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. If you're mainstream, if you're just, I'm just like everybody else. I'm just the everyman. It doesn't make any sense. And then, of course, you finally come to Jesus when you meet the Marxist preacher. Ah, okay. We're just talking about the Barack Obama changing his name when he was 18. He insisted when he was a kid to be called Barry because he wanted to fit in. But then when he moved to his grandparents' house, now remember, Barry Obama is a kid raised by a father who abandons him, goes to a radical school, abandons the family, goes to a radical school here in New York City, then goes someplace else to another radical school, and then leaves the United States and becomes a radical for Marxism over in Kenya. His mom is a radical Marxist. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. That's who she was. She's not Dorothy from Kansas. So she's a radical. She then gives her son to the grandparents to be raised in Hawaii. So look at the tragedies that are happening in this kid's life. Look at the deep scarring that is happening in this kid's life. He goes to the grandparents. Grandpa takes him to a bar to kind of have a black man ritual, or I can't even remember what he was calling it, a black man experience or something, because Grandpa in Hawaii knows an African American named Frank Marshall Davis, a communist. So Grandpa wants him to be around his own kind. Okay, Grandpa. We all have grandpas. Hello. So he has Frank Marshall Davis be a mentor of his. He's a communist and a father figure to Barack Obama, somebody who he can count on and is dependable and is there. Then Barack Obama goes to Chicago after that. Goes to Columbia, goes to Harvard, seeks out, what was it he said? Go ahead, play this.
I chose my friends carefully. The more politically active black students,
the foreign students, the Chicanos, the Marxist professors and structural feminists and punk rock performance poets.
Got it. Okay, so do you hear this? This is who he is seeking out. This is when he changes his name. He changes his name from Barry because he's trying to fit in as Barry. Then he meets Frank Marshall Davis. He then changes his name to Barack. Why? To make a statement and to fit in. Think. You change your name to from Barry. You want to fit in. You decide, no, I want to be somebody different. You change your name and then again play the audio of what he did after he changed his name.
I chose my friends carefully. The more politically active black students, the foreign students, the Chicanos, the Marxist professors and structural feminists and punk rock performance poets. We smoked cigarettes and wore leather jackets. At night in the dorms, we discussed neocolonialism, Frantz Fanon, Eurocentrism, and patriarchy.
Stop.
I mean, is that mainstream stuff?
That's not.
No.
That is a guy named Barack.
Yeah.
Hey, Barack. Not Barry. Hey, Barry, come here. Let's talk about neocolonialism. No.
How about structural feminism then?
Barack. Neocolonialism. It takes on a whole different light. So he goes in, he seeks these people out as Barack, not Barry. He seeks them out. He creates a new identity for himself. You know what? This sounds ridiculous, but I don't believe it is. Maybe it is. Somebody said to me, I think it was during the OJ trial or something. Do you remember it was, Pat, we were working together at the time. We had somebody on talking about, they were handwriting. They were one of the world's best handwriting analysis people. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what that was for? It was back in the early 90s. We had somebody on, they were analyzing handwriting. And I started talking to them off the air, and they said, you change your signature and you change your life. And I said, what? They said, you change your signature and you will change. So while I'm sobering up, I decided to change my signature. One of the things I didn't like about me back in the old days was I had an ego that could stop Barack Obama's.
What?
Yes, I know. Comes as a surprise to you, Pat.
Whoa.
Wait. So I changed the way I signed my name. I was working on it. I wanted to be more humble, yada, yada. And I remembered those words, and I thought, you know what? I'm going to change my signature. I sign my name now with a lowercase g and a lowercase b. And I do that to remind myself I'm not a capital letter guy. Humility. It plays a role to this day because I remind myself every time I sign my name who I'm trying to be. I contend the same thing happens with Barack Obama. You do create yourself. A lot of people are created. A lot of people just go through life and say, well, that was my parents. It was this. Oh, I had a tragedy. That was the first half of my life. I let those things happen to me, and internalize them as, poor me. And it almost destroyed me. Halfway through my life, I decided to reset and say, no, I'm not going to be the guy I have allowed myself to become because of circumstances. I'm going to take charge of my life. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to be who I want to be. And I went through a period of self-discovery, which is what you usually do when you go to college. And I built myself. I'm a self-made man. Warts and all, troubles and all, I am responsible for who I am. Barack Obama, I believe, has done the same thing. He chose to use his name Barack for a reason, to identify not with America. You don't take the name Barack to identify with America. You take the name Barack to identify with what? Your heritage, The heritage maybe of your father in Kenya, who is a radical? Is it really? Searching for something to give him any kind of meaning. Just as he was searching later in life for religion. He was searching, and look, I don't care what religion you are. As conservatives, we need to stop this whole idea of, we're going to baptize you. No. Let's live our lives in a way where people are saying, wait a minute, hang on. Did that faith really change your life? Is that what happened? Yes. Wow. Okay. I'm going to find more out about that. Good. You'll find happiness, profound happiness.